what is reading?
Well, let's say reading is using a rule, and that rule is turning letters into sounds. So let's say we're tasked with teaching someone how to read aloud the following excerpt. The cat is on the mat. So we'll teach them the English alphabet, teach them how to pronounce each letter, and after a few hours, we look at the written sentence and say, the cat is on the mat.
But what if they make a mistake? What if they think that on isn't spelled O-N, but rather A-N, so they consistently say the cat is an the mat?
Well, if it's a consistent mistake, they're still following a rule. They're still technically reading, because their rule is that A is O and O is A. It's like someone who thinks that the word granted is pronounced granite, and they say we shouldn't take life for granted. Well, you still know what they're trying to say. Just because they have one additional rule doesn't mean that their words are nonsense.
Okay, but sticking to our example, what if they mistake the letter A for O, and every other time they mistake A for E? So the next time they say on, they pronounce it an, and the next time after that, they pronounce it as N, and after that, they say an again.
Well, there's a discernible pattern here. They say the word N every other time, so they're still following a rule. But at what point does this rule break down? When they say N every 100th time or every 1,000 times? At what point do we call these mistakes versus rules? Once we can no longer express the number of mispronunciations as a mathematical formula? So then let's say that reading is when someone recites something and understands it. When someone says we shouldn't take life for granted, it's not nonsense because we still understand what they're trying to say.
But then the words don't matter. I just continue saying granite instead of granted, even if it's incorrect.
But the words do matter. If someone said we shouldn't take life for blank, and another person said blank, 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 you would be able to guess what the person who said blank, 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 blank was trying to say, but you could guess what the other person was saying.
But that's the thing, I'm still guessing in both cases. I'm no longer reciting and understanding. The last word of the phrase, we shouldn't take life for, is literally omitted. It's not there. I'm not reading that phrase. I'm just understanding it, which makes no sense. How can I guess the meaning of something I read?
But don't we often do that? Take a clock, for example, and let's say it's one of those clocks that have only tick marks on it to indicate the time. And it has exactly 12 marks for 12 hours. Now, we understand the numbers 1 through 12. We know them by heart. But when I look at the tick marks of the clock and tell the time, I'm reading the numbers on the clock. Likewise, we often glaze over emails. We mutter to ourselves what is written inside the email, but once we're done reading, we'll only have actually read a few words. And from those few words, you can guess at what your boss is trying to tell you.
But let's say someone tasked me with reading the word zerpidellum. It's a made-up word, yet you can still read it and say it aloud. I can guess all I like, but I still can't derive any understanding from it. I can recite, but I don't understand. Reading can't be a rule because we still understand people even when they break the rule. But reading can't entirely be based on comprehension either because it allows for guessing and made-up words. It's contradictory to say I know what I guess or I know what I make up. I think that's the trouble with a lot of communication.